Hey student leaders, I'm trying something a little bit different this year. Normally we have a meeting with all of our leaders the first Sunday that we come back from Elevation, but I found that you guys are usually pretty stressed at that time of year, getting ready for the first day of school or the first week of school for those of you starting at Mount Pisgah on Wednesday. So I tried something different this year with our adult leaders. I'm going to do the same thing with you. Just going to make a short training video because it's difficult to get all of our middle school and high school leaders together in the same room at the same time. So this is going to go out to all of our student leaders. So if you're on the tech team, if you're on the worship team, if you're on the hype team, if you're on the speaking team, if you're on the Wednesday night team, if you're on one of our confirmation student leaders, if you're one of our 9 a.m. Bible study teachers, I think that's covered all of them, our Wednesday night crew, then you should be receiving this whether you're in middle school or high school. Every now and then I'm going to pull us all together for a chance just to spend time together with the high school leaders, especially if we need to make any kind of big decisions for the ministry. But since we've had so much change and transition over the past couple of years with different staff and changing mission trips around, I don't foresee any major changes this upcoming school year. All of our regular programs, all of our special events are all the same as they were last year. Our retreats are to the same location. We're going back to the Dominican Republic. So we just don't need those meetings this upcoming year to kind of set what the calendar is going to be. And I'm going to kind of break it down a little bit and let most of the training for our student leaders happen within their specific team sets. And so your team leader, your staff team leader should be reaching out to you and pulling you together for some kind of training here sometime in the month of August, or maybe you already met with them in the month of July. I know that Tammy has a confirmation student leader training coming up on August 20th. And that Abby is doing a leader training on August 12th on a Saturday. She's doing some worship leader training. I know that Daniel has a meeting coming up with his Wednesday night crew and his speaking team and his hype team. And so be looking out for messages from your staff representative because they're going to be pulling you together to do specific training. But just to kind of get you started this year, though, I always like to kind of have a word for the year. And our word for this year is going to be integrate. And I'm pulling that out of Acts chapter 2, verses 42 through 44. It'll sound familiar to you. It says this is talking about the early church. It says, they devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship, to the breaking of bread and to prayer. Everyone was filled with awe, and many wonders and miraculous signs were done by the apostles. All the believers were together and had everything in common. Selling their possessions and goods, they gave to anyone who had need. Every day they continued to meet together in their temple courts. They broke bread in their homes and ate together with glad and sincere hearts, praising God and enjoying favor for all people. And the Lord added to their number daily those who were being saved. That's actually verses 42 through 47. It's the early church, and we find that the first thing that they do is they're always gathering together, they're always studying scripture together, they're always breaking bread together, they're always praying together, they're always fellowshipping together. And so my word for this year for our student ministry is the word integrate. And what I mean by that is a couple of different facets. For one, I really want us to integrate scripture into everything that we do. We already do a pretty good job of this. Our small group leaders do a wonderful job of this. Obviously, our 9 a.m. Bible study teachers do a good job of this. We do this at Elevation. But you as student leaders, I'd like to add this to your plate of responsibilities as well, and that I want you to bring scripture to the table. You know, if you're speaking to a small group, those of you that are interns, if you're leading small group lessons, scripture should always be involved. If you're helping lead in a 9 o'clock Bible study, and right now we're studying the book of Acts, is what we've just begun, is a study of the book of Acts. And if there's a scripture that you have in mind that perhaps is from another book of the Bible, or you're reading in your commentary and you see that there's a parallel passage that exists in Luke, then interrupt the teacher that day, interrupt Kim, interrupt Scott, and say, hey, I've actually got another scripture to add into the mix, because what we want to do is make sure that we're infusing scripture into everything that we do. And so that's one of the things we want to do, is infuse scripture into that. Just like the early church did, where they gathered together and broke bread, we also want to integrate scripture together. We also want to integrate new people into our student ministry. I feel like one of the best things that we have going for our student ministry is our kind of friendly community environment. I think a lot of people have come to our student ministry because someone invited them and someone made them feel welcome when they got here. And you guys are kind of the forefront of that. You are the first barrier. The staff and I are always going to try and be on the lookout for new students, but as you've seen on Sunday mornings, we get pulled in all different directions. Parents ask us questions, and of course you guys want to talk to us and catch up about your weeks, which is awesome. But it's difficult for us to find every single student and see every single new kid that comes through our doors. And so having you guys do that and helping to integrate new kids into the ministry, not just to say hello, but to go the extra mile and to help them feel a part of the group, to bring them into your small groups, to let them sit with you at Elevation, to get them involved in the activities on Wednesday nights, to get them involved in the discussions at 9 a.m. Bible study. That's a big piece of getting new people involved, is making them feel like they're a part of it. I'd like to see our groups integrate together more. This is one of the reasons why Daniel is doing the fantasy football thing with the NFL with the boys. It's not because he's just trying to exclude the girls. It's because he's trying to create kind of a fraternal feeling amongst the boys' small groups. And we're going to do stuff with the girls as well this semester, but the specific reasoning for him doing that is not to exclude the girls, but rather to create kind of this fraternity sense amongst the boys' small groups. And so we're challenging our small group leaders to integrate those groups even more. And so you can help us with doing that as well by suggesting ways that we can integrate boys and girls groups together in different grades together. Just because as I've worked at Lighthouse and I've gone to the Dominican Republic and we've done mission camp, the more that we integrate the genders together, the more that we integrate the grades together, just the more cohesive I find our student ministry being. And you, the student leaders, are definitely the first layer for that. I'd like to see us integrate into the lifeblood of the church more. And so we've already been going to more student family worships upstairs. We're not going to be adding any of those. It's more of when we have opportunities to serve. I'd like to see us really jump in. And so when NACF comes around in December, if you're not actually in the performance, I would love to see you guys get involved in hospitality and helping welcome, help with behind the scenes stuff with NACF, just getting involved with other things that are going on inside the church, because we find that not only to be fruitful for the church, but also we find it to be fruitful in your life. And then lastly, we want you to integrate your faith life into your everyday life. And so this word integrate, you can see, plays on a variety of concepts and putting scripture into our lives and integrating new people together and integrating our groups together and putting our faith into all of the aspects of our lives. And so that would be my kind of vision word for this upcoming school year, would be the word integrate. But speaking of integration, the staff and I are trying to get more involved in the schools than we have in the past couple of years. We've been involved in schools pretty heavily for the past couple of years, but we'd like to also integrate more into the community. And so we've kind of switched up roles a little bit just for your knowledge. Daniel's going to be in charge of the Johns Creek cluster. Meaning he's going to do the Autry Mill Middle School breakfast at the Slows, and he's also going to be coming to Johns Creek a couple times a month during lunch to help with the tutoring and to do some counseling, and he'll kind of be that face. And so if you go to Johns Creek and you want to have lunch with Daniel, he's going to be on your campus a couple times a month, so be looking out for him. If there's FCA stuff or crew stuff happening at one of those schools, let Daniel know, because Daniel would really love to be involved over at Johns Creek and Autry Mill. And then Daniel's going to be doing the same thing at Mount Pisgah Christian School. He's meeting with their Bible department on how to get involved there. He's going to be coaching the basketball team. He's going to be getting involved with chapel. He and I are actually going to be team teaching the middle school Sharp Top. And so for Mount Pisgah cluster and for the Johns Creek cluster, I'll still be around. I'm still going to go to lunch to Pisgah from time to time. I'm still going to go to Johns Creek ball games and stuff. But really, Daniel's going to be the face of those two schools. And so if you've got something going on at your school, something happened on a Saturday, a community event, invite Daniel to be a part of that, because he'd really love to get involved. Abby and Tammy are both going to start doing some mentoring through the counseling department at Haynesbridge Middle School. And so they're going to be kind of floating from school to school. And so again, if you've got something that you think would be helpful for them to get involved with at your school, reach out to them. And then I'm going to be focusing in on the Centennial cluster. And so I'll be at Centennial High School every other week doing my math tutoring like I have been doing, but I'm also going to be adding on Haynesbridge Middle School and Holcomb Bridge Middle School. And I'll be doing the Haynesbridge and Holcomb Bridge Middle School breakfasts. I know that does not include every single one of our schools or school systems, so please know, if you don't go to one of those schools, that's just where the largest quantity of people go, and so it makes it easier for us to divide up the labor that way. But we definitely want to be involved in your other schools. If you have opportunities for us to speak at your FCA, you go to Webbridge, or you go to Alpharetta, or you're involved at Wesleyan, or you go to Chattahoochee or Taylor Road, or any of those schools, Cambridge, please just let us know, and we'd love to come be involved. But that's kind of how the staff are breaking it up so that we can kind of manage our workloads. As far as training goes for your individual ministry area, you should be getting together with your staff representative for training sometime in the next month. Like I said, Daniel's got a wonderful card that he made for our student speakers, and we need everyone who's going to speak on stage to go through that training, just like we need our worship leaders to be trained. We need our 9 a.m. Bible study people to be trained. And so meet with that particular staff person if you have questions. Tammy's over our 9 a.m. Bible study. She's over our confirmation. Abby is over all of our creative stuff, all of our tech stuff, and all of our worship stuff. And then Daniel is over all of our hype team stuff, all of our speaking team stuff, and all of our Wednesday night stuff. So if you have questions, reach out to that staff person. But a couple tips, though, if you're helping on Sunday morning with 9 o'clock Bible study, probably the main thing would be help the teacher. The adult teacher's in there to lead the lesson, but you're there to add fruit and add flavor to it, bring in Bible verses, bring in stories, bring in things that are applicable to people that are your age group, especially in that middle school Bible study. So help be the bridge between the teacher and the other students. It's kind of your job. You don't have to prepare stuff most weeks that you're leading in those classes. Really, you just need to show up, and perhaps have read the scripture that they're going to be teaching that week, that would be really helpful, because then you'll have some nuggets to give from the beginning. But mainly just be there as an active voice. On Wednesday nights, there's very specific roles, and Daniel will train you on that, as well as for confirmation. Tammy's got specific training for that one. But for the most part, that's kind of most of your roles are there to assist the existing leaders, or you're there to fill a specific role, and so your staff person will help you with that. The main leadership lesson, though, that I would give you would be this year, I really want us to do a good job of identifying and meeting needs. That's the definition of a leader. Someone who meets needs is a servant, and that's awesome. Someone who decides what needs to be done is a leader, but a servant leader is someone who identifies and meets the needs. And so I'd like to see all of you, all of our student leaders, whether you're on tech ministry, you're in our hospitality ministry, you're on our hype team, you're on our speaking team, you're on our Wednesday night team, you're on our tech team, you're on 9 o'clock Bible study. I'd like to see all of you doing this in all areas. One example I could give of that would be our hospitality. As you know, Daniel started doing the hype team, and they've got those gray badges that they wear on Sunday mornings. And so I'd like to throw down a challenge for all of our student leaders, starting with the hype team, is that we would have 4 at the door and 4 on the floor. What I mean is that we would have 4 people standing at the outside doors to the underground with gray badges on, giving hugs, handshakes, and high fives as kids are walking inside the building. And then we have 4 people that are walking around the floor inside the underground with the gray badges on, looking for new people. Because like I said, it's difficult for the staff and I sometimes to identify every single new kid that walks through the door. And if you meet a new kid and you think they're new to student ministry, ask them, say, hey, is this your first time? Have you been here before? If they say, yeah, it's my first time, or I've been here a couple times, ask them if they filled out a Connect card. If they haven't, walk them to the desk yourself. Get them to fill out one of those Connect cards that's sitting on that hospitality desk, and then find a t-shirt which is underneath the hospitality desk. That'd be great. Tammy's going to be there a lot of times, but you can really help her out by, if you're on that hype team, if you're on the hospitality team wearing those gray badges and you meet a new person, walk them over to the desk, get their information, give them a t-shirt, and then make sure that that Connect card gets in Tammy's hands. But that's one really big way that I think our team of 50 student leaders can identify and meet needs, is just on the front door aspect, just on the hospitality concept. On Wednesday nights and on Sunday mornings, I would love for us to have 4 at the door, 4 on the floor. And so if you show up and you're a tech person and you're not scheduled for that day, and you notice that there's only 3 people on the front door, and you notice there's only 2 people with gray badges walking around inside the underground looking for new people, go toss on a gray badge and go hop in one of those spots, even if you haven't been scheduled to do hospitality. So that's kind of, I guess, us raising the bar. And as we try and integrate new people into our ministry, I think that's going to be a wonderful addition to us kind of making it a warmer environment. And then the last thing I'll leave you with is just reminders. Please, please, please communicate with your staff person if you can't make it. If you cannot make it to something that you've been assigned to do and you've agreed to do, or you're going to show up and lead, please text the staff person that is responsible for that ministry area. So for worship, you're going to text Abby. For Wednesday nights, you're going to text Daniel. But also respond on Planning Center. Every single one of you should be set up in Planning Center now. Daniel's going to start scheduling all of our hype team people in Planning Center. All of our Wednesday night people are in Planning Center. All of our other positions are in Planning Center. And so if you don't have an ID for that, we'll get you set up. But the big 2 things, if you can't make it, that's okay. Decline in Planning Center and then send a text to that staff person. If we send out a schedule a month in advance and you can't make it, same thing. Decline as soon as you know you can't make it, and then send a text to that staff person. The only thing in Planning Center that we hate is the little yellow question mark. We love green check marks, and we're fine with red X's. If you can't make it because you're busy, it's not a big deal. It just helps for you to communicate with us. But I really, really am excited about this upcoming school year. I think having added Daniel to our staff this past year, Abby's come on full-time within the past year and a half. Our staffing's in a really good place. We've got more bandwidth this year to do more things inside our schools, to do ministry in our community. And so we're here for you. We're here for you as a resource. If you personally need something and need somebody to talk to or sit down with, please don't hesitate to reach out to one of the staff. All 4 of us would love to sit down and talk to you. But if you've got a friend or if you've got somebody in the community that needs our help, please know that we're always here in your back corner, in your back pocket as a resource to help you as a leader, as a minister, and as an individual. We love you guys. We appreciate so much all of the time and energy and effort that you give to our ministry, and we are really excited about the year that we have ahead of us. Bye.